Okay, so in the wild, high-stakes world of artificial intelligence, a new heavyweight has just stepped into the ring. And get this, it's a company you'd normally associate with finance, not foundation models. But they've just made a move that could shake up, well, everything.
Yeah, and this headline right here from early October 2025, this wasn't just some run-of-the-mill press release. No, this was a declaration. Ant Group, the folks behind Alipay, is officially jumping onto the global AI stage, and they are not messing around. They are aiming right for the top.
And this is the number that just made everyone's jaw drop. 1 trillion. I mean, let that sink in. 1 trillion parameters. That is the absolutely massive scale of their new flagship model, Ling-1T. With a number like that, you're immediately in the big leagues, playing with the most powerful AIs on the planet.
All right, so to really get our heads around this, here's how we're going to break it down. First, what did they actually announce? Then we'll peek under the hood at the tech. After that, we'll see how it stacks up against the competition, dig into why this matters so much, and finally, look at what's next.
Okay, section 1. Let's start with the basics. What was the big announcement all about?
So on October 9th and 10th, Ant Group dropped Ling-1T. And here's the key takeaway. This wasn't just some niche financial tool. This was a massive open-weight model built for the really tough stuff, complex reasoning, math, and coding. It signals a huge strategic shift for them, from just being a fintech company to becoming a real player in foundational AI.
All right, moving on. Here's the thing. Ling-1T didn't show up solo. Ant actually rolled out a whole family of AI models. So what's that all about? Let's take a look. Okay, so this is super interesting. Instead of making one model do everything, they built a specialized team. Think of it this way. You've got Ling, who's the quick problem solver, perfect for fast, precise answers. Then you've got Ring, the strategic planner, the one that does the deep, multi-step thinking. And finally, there's Ming, which is basically the eyes and ears of the operation, handling vision and audio. It's a really smart setup. So how do you even run a 1 trillion parameter model without it grinding to a halt? Well, the secret sauce is something called Mixture of Experts, or MO. The analogy here is perfect. Think of it like a project manager. Instead of having one person try to do everything, the manager calls in the right specialist for each specific task. This makes the whole system super powerful, but also way more efficient.
And what this setup does is create two different styles of thinking. You've got Ling for those fast, right-to-the-point answers. But if you need to tackle a really complex problem, you bring in Ring, which does that slower, more deliberate chain-of-thought reasoning. It gives developers a choice between speed and depth.
Okay, so that's the tech. But here's the deal. No AI model exists in a bubble, right? To really get why this is such a big deal, we have to look at the competition. And in 2025, that competition is fierce.
And this timeline just shows you how insane the pace is. I mean, look at this. Early in the year, DeepSeek sets a new standard. Then in August, OpenAI makes a huge pivot and goes open weight. A month later, Ant previews their model, and bam, in October, they launched the whole family. This wasn't a random launch. It was a calculated move in a full-blown AI arms race.
So you can really see they're fighting a war on two fronts here. On one side, you have the domestic rivalry with DeepSeek. They're basically going head-to-head for the hearts and minds of China's developer ecosystem. But at the same time, they're taking on the global champ, OpenAI, by offering a powerful, and this is key, accessible, open-weight alternative. It's a bold strategy. And this was their mic drop number, 70.42%. Now that's their accuracy on a super tough math benchmark called AIM. They didn't just pull this out of a hat. This was a direct shot across the bow, meant to prove one thing. Our AI can reason with the best of them.
So we've got the tech. We've got the competition. But let's pull back for a second. Why does this launch actually matter? What's the big picture here?
Well, the impact is huge, and it kind of works on 3 different levels. First, for Ant Group itself, this is a major pivot. They're going from being just a fintech company to a foundational AI player. Second, for China's AI ecosystem, this just heats up the domestic competition, which is great for innovation. And third, for the global market, hey, another top-tier open-weight model means more choice and less reliance on just a few big names. That's a win for everyone.
And that open-weight strategy is absolutely critical to all of this. See, by giving developers the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, Ant is playing the long game here. They're not just trying to sell a product. They're trying to build a whole community, a whole ecosystem around their tech.
Okay, last section. Because look, a big splashy launch is one thing, but what happens next? That's what really counts. And the road ahead for Ling AI, it's going to be interesting.
Because despite all the hype, there are still a ton of open questions, like, will third-party tests actually back up these amazing performance claims? How open is OpenWeight when it comes to the license for businesses? Can they even get enough AI chips to keep training these beasts? And what about safety and compliance? That's a huge one, especially coming from a finance company. Plus, we still don't know how good the multimodal Ming series really is in the real world.
When you boil it all down, this launch is about more than just one company or one model. It's part of this huge global shift towards opening up the most powerful AI tools for everyone to use. And that leaves us with a really critical question to chew on. As these incredibly powerful models become available to anyone and everyone, who is really in control?